All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're diving into this, well, it's kind of like a poetic puzzle. We don't have a neat finished book. Instead, what we have is this collection of artifacts, right? These typed up fragments that we have to piece together to figure out what story is hiding inside.
Okay, so we've got scraps of paper, typed words.
So, what exactly are we even looking at here?
All right, let's really get into it. What is the story here? What's the feeling that's hiding in all of this beautiful, chaotic noise?
Okay, so first things first, we have to talk about how this stuff is made. Because believe me, the medium here, it's just as important as the message itself.
So the official term for this is cut-up poetry. But, that doesn't really do it justice, does it? It's so much more than just shuffling words around. It's a really physical act. Think about it. It's like making a collage, but you're using words instead of pictures. Every single tear in the paper, every little piece of tape holding it together, that's all part of the story. You're literally creating a new layer of meaning from these old, discarded scraps.
And this is a fantastic example of the range you get with this technique. I mean, look at this. On one side, you have these dense, almost overwhelming blocks of text, right? It feels like a total stream of consciousness just pouring onto the page. But then, on the other side, you get these super minimalist phrases, where all that empty space, all that silence on the page, is shouting just as loudly as the words are.
So you gotta ask, why a typewriter? I mean, we live in a world of spell check of perfectly clean digital fonts. Choosing to use this machine, that's a statement. It's a full-on embrace of the analog world. Think about it. Every typo, every little smudge of ink, every uneven line, it's permanent. There's no delete key, no backspace. It's a commitment to imperfection, to the human touch. It's kind of like a quiet rebellion against the digital age, one keystroke at a time. Okay, so we've got the how, now let's dig into the what. How does this fragmented, cut-up style actually capture the feeling of modern city life? Because, as you're about to see, the city in these poems, it's not one single place. It's more like a collection of fleeting, totally disjointed moments. And we kick things off with this really sharp, cynical observation. This line right here, it totally sets the tone for how the poet views the city's big cultural institutions. They aren't seen as these grand places of learning. Nah, they're just places people wander through, maybe without even really seeing what's right in front of them. And from there, the focus gets tighter, zooming in on specific cities. Get this take on San Francisco. It's pretty raw, a really unflattering snapshot, right? It just captures this feeling of decay, of being completely disillusioned with a city that's supposed to be so iconic. And then we jump to another city. You see the reference to the old Hollywoodland sign, but it's immediately paired with this feeling of being not known. This is not the glamorous LA you see in the movies. This is the real, isolating, anonymous experience of trying to make it there. So, when you put all these pieces together, what do you get? Well, it's pretty clear that city life in these poems is a mashup of fleeting moments and some pretty cynical observations. It's a social critique built out of these disjointed experiences. But, and this is important, it's not all doom and gloom. If you look closely, you can also see a search for beauty in the decay, a hunt for something real in all that noise. Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The artist actually turns the lens around, away from the city, and points it right at the act of creation itself. The big question becomes, what does it even mean to be a poet in a world like this? I mean, just look at this contrast. It's incredible. On one hand, you've got this really world-weary admission that, yeah, sometimes art is just a hustle, selling average poetry for $5. But then, right next to it, you get this deep, almost sacred respect for the power of words, the idea that they're too beautiful, too important to be used as weapons. And then you get this. Talk about a bombshell. This is a direct challenge to the whole traditional idea of what makes someone an artist. It's basically saying you don't become a poet just by reading a bunch of books. It's something else entirely. Maybe it's about experience or observation or just the raw, messy act of making something. So this leaves us with this huge internal conflict, right? Is art a hustle? Is it a sacred calling? Or is it a rebellion? And from what we're seeing in these fragments, the answer seems to be, yeah, it's all three of those things, all at the same time. Okay, so we've seen the city, we've seen the artist struggle. Now we're going even deeper into something way more personal, love and connection.
And you're going to see how this fragmented style is actually the perfect way to talk about the gaps and the disconnects in modern relationships.
Buried in all that cynicism about city life and art, you find these just stunning moments of pure, unfiltered intimacy. It's not complicated at all. It's just a simple, beautiful observation of another person that makes the whole day feel, quote, perfect. It's gorgeous.
But then, almost in the next breath, that connection gets complicated. The simple act of mispronouncing a name suddenly creates this distance. And that back and forth perfectly captures how fragile intimacy can be, doesn't it? How a moment of absolute perfection can be followed by one of awkwardness and separation. And this line, this feels like it ties it all together. This poetry is literally full of gaps, cuts, and empty spaces. And that's a brilliant reflection of the gaps that can exist between people, even when they're at their closest. The form itself, the way it's built, actually mirrors the feeling. It's genius.
So, okay, we've sifted through all these scraps of paper, these typed out thoughts, and these cut up feelings. What's the final takeaway? After all this, where do we actually find the meaning?
Well, maybe the answer is right here, in this one final fragment. The book isn't. That's not a typo, by the way. It's a statement. This whole collection, it isn't a finished, polished book with a neat little bow on top. It is intentionally incomplete. It's a reflection of our lives, our thoughts, which are always, always in progress.
And that, I think, is the final, beautiful idea we can take from all this. Meaning isn't always a straight line. Sometimes it's a collage that we have to build ourselves from all the different pieces of our lives. The real art is in how we arrange it all. So I guess the only question left to ask is, how are you arranging yours?